I'd like to thank you, Mr. Muránsky, and the Friedrich Ebert Foundation, as well as the Slovak Academy of Sciences for the opportunity to be here at today's conference. A few words about, very brief words about the relationship between the United States and Slovakia. I would say that our relationship right now between our two countries is strong and maturing. We have ties of commerce, trade, friendship, and shared ancestry in the form of a large Slovak diaspora in the United States. A major focus of our two countries' partnership today centers on what we're doing in both the region and the broader world. The United States played what I would say is a critical role in helping Slovakia to develop into a stable democracy after the Velvet Revolution brought a decisive end to 50 years of oppression and foreign domination. Now, in turn, Slovakia is proving an invaluable partner in sharing that experience from its transition to democracy with other countries in South Asia, North Africa, and Eastern Europe. But at the same time, there's still clearly more work to do inside Slovakia itself to ensure that the benefits of democracy are able to be enjoyed by all Slovaks, regardless of ethnicity. So I applaud your efforts to promote discussion of the very real problem of the social exclusion of Roma and best practices for trying to solve that exclusion. Our embassy strongly supports efforts by both the government and civil society to tackle head-on the social and economic challenges faced by all disadvantaged members of society. Last April, on the occasion of International Roma Day, our Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, commented that too often and in too many places, Roma are forced to live on the margins where they're segregated, beaten, and discriminated against. And her remarks hinted that the plight of Roma is really systematic and Europe-wide. But at the same time, I've often heard from people who know a lot more about this issue than I do that if you have 700 different Roma communities, you really have essentially 700 unique situations. Different Romani communities have different experiences, for example, with housing, school, drug abuse, health, and other issues. So it's a reminder that a one-size-fits-all, top-down approach may not always be the best. Some keys to inclusion, I think many would agree, are mutual understanding, shared experience, and trust. That's a recipe for success that has held true in nations around the world, including my own, and it's a formula which we think can help here as well. Although almost a half a century has passed since the United States fought its main battles to end segregation, many communities throughout the United States still find themselves in difficult situations. And the key to helping those communities overcome their difficulties, be they related to education, drug abuse, housing, health, the keys are on-the-ground, grassroots organizations working in specific communities and sensitive to the unique needs of specific groups. So we strongly encourage efforts to get communities to search for better ways to collaborate on a wide range of issues important to Roma and non-Roma alike. Thanks to their hard work, civil society organizations in Slovakia, some of whom will be sharing their experiences during this very conference, have accumulated significant experience on what works and what doesn't with regard to Roma living in marginalized conditions. Our ambassador and embassy staff have visited numerous Roma communities throughout Slovakia where the positive effects of community work were clearly palpable, whether through children spending their time in a community center, families building homes, or young individuals getting engaged in local politics. But we've also visited those communities where the absence of community work has similarly left its own mark. I'm certain that your sharing today of community-oriented experiences will complement the priorities outlined in the Decade of Roma Inclusion, the new strategy for the integration of Roma until 2020, and the Roma Reform Program currently being outlined by Government Plenipotentiary Peter Pollack, with whom our embassy enjoys excellent cooperation. Your efforts today will help move toward the more effective inclusion of Romani minority here. As Secretary Clinton said earlier, back in April, Roma are on the front lines of what she termed the struggle for greater human rights and dignity. And the United States is committed to working with civil society groups and governments to make a real difference in the lives of Roma. We believe that governments have a special responsibility to ensure the members of the Romani community have the tools to succeed as productive members of society. But I'd also point out that from a business perspective, this makes sense for governments because, particularly like now at a time of fiscal crisis throughout Europe, if not all members of your society are contributing to the country's economy, then the country's not going to be able to achieve its full economic potential. So to conclude, thank you again for your work here today, and I congratulate you for all your efforts, and I look forward to hearing your conclusions about how best to advance this important cause. So thank you very much.
Ďakujem pánu Thatcherovi Scharpfovi za jeho štrukturovaný a mnohé podnety do ďalšej diskusie dávajúci príspevok. Dovolte využiť momentum tejto chvíle a privítať nášho posledného hostia uvádzacieho úvodu nášho ako podujatia, pána Rolanda Westebeho, riaditeľa komunikačného oddelenia nemeckého veľvyslanectva v Bratislave. A dovolte, aby som využil čas, ktorý ešte nám zostáva, a predal slovo pánovi splnomocnencovi Polákovi. Nech sa páči.